Hi guys, how are you? It's Thursday. We are in April already. I can't believe it. Time is kind of flying by, but at the same time going slow. It doesn't really make much sense, but it's kind of how I feel. I miss you guys so much. I will probably say that every time I do a lesson here. I wish we were back at school. I miss seeing your cute little faces, getting your hugs, and hearing all about your wild and crazy and exciting adventures every day and every night. So I can't wait to see you, and I hope it's soon. Since we're still doing things this way, today we're going to do a little lesson on details or specific information. And I wanted to talk to you guys about using details when you're talking with someone, talking to a group of people, or even when you're doing your writing pieces. Providing details makes your conversations, your stories, your writing pieces so much more complete and so much more interesting to the people who are listening to you or reading what you're writing. It's really important to be specific when you're talking and when you're writing for others. It can be really easy to leave off details, especially when you're telling people about things you know so much about. It's really easy to just think, oh, well, they must know what I'm talking about. But a lot of times, you're actually, when you're speaking with someone and telling them about something that you're excited about, or maybe that's something that's in your home, you have to remember that your listener or your reader may not and probably doesn't know all of the things that you do. So we have to remember that, and we want to make sure that we give them a picture in their head so they can visualize exactly what it is that we already see in our heads. I hope that makes sense. Remember, to visualize means to be able to see it, to have a picture, to form a picture. And that's really, really important, especially when you're communicating with someone else. Think about when we had sharing sessions at school, all right? If it was my turn to share, I'm not sure if that's gonna pop up or not. Sorry guys, I just got a message that came in. If it was my turn to share, and it was my share day, and I thought, I'm gonna share about my new dog. And I told all of you guys, I got a dog. And that's all I said. I didn't give you any more information or any more details. What do you think would happen? I have a pretty good idea. I know what would happen. A lot of hands would shoot up and you'd start asking me questions. You might ask me, what color is he? Where did you get him? How does your other dog feel about him being in the house? Who gave him to you? Why did you get a dog and not a cat? When did you get him? Who got to pick out the name? So those of you would start asking questions because you'd want more information, you'd want more details, because I really didn't give you enough. I just told you I got a new dog. And that's kind of boring. And it kind of doesn't really give you any idea about my dog. So I think it's a really simple example of why details are important, but I think it works. So my first share of I got a dog didn't really give you any of those important details. Now, that's what I was talking about. In my head, I already had all of that information, but I was sharing with you and I forgot to include all of that. So therefore you weren't able to form a picture in your head even about what my dog looked like, because I didn't even say what color he was, or if he had a long tail or long ears or any of those details. Well, that's kind of a boring statement. So those are things I want you guys to remember. And you know me, I'm all about the who, what, where, why, and when. So when you're speaking or when you're writing, it's really important to make sure that when you go back, especially when you're writing, to look and say, did I give enough information that my reader won't have to ask all those questions? So that's something I want you to always think about when you're having a conversation or when you're writing. So let's think about, what if someone said to you, or to me, I guess I'll use myself as an example, tell me about where you live, or tell me about your house. So I decided, how would I answer that question? So give me just a second because I'm going to take you off of this. Okay guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. My phone cut off and stopped recording. So I'll start back up. Remember, we're talking about using details in our writing. And the question was, what would happen if someone asked me where I lived or tell me about your house? So you can see that I created some examples of answers or responses to that question. And right at the top, above that paper, you can see my who, what, where, when, and why. Now, sometimes you might not be able to answer all of those questions or provide all of that information in your writing. It just depends what you're writing about. But most of the time, you should be able to include most of the information that relates to those questions. So let's see how I did. And let's see if you're able to formulate a picture or visualize my house as we go from statement to statement. So try not to jump ahead. And I know there's a glare, it's a little shiny. I'm sorry about that. It's just, this is the only place I could find to hang the poster up. Okay, so you can see at the very top, my first sentence is, I live in a house. It's a pretty boring and bland statement, right? All it tells you is that I don't live in an apartment, right? It tells you I live in a house. So it gives you a little bit of information, but not much. If I asked you to draw a picture, you would probably just draw a box with a triangle on top and maybe some windows, but that probably wouldn't look like my house. Let's see what I did next. I added a detail. I added an adjective. I live in a yellow house. So now I've given you more information. So now if you drew that picture, at least you could color it yellow and it might look a little bit more like my house. The third statement, which is in the blue writing, says, I live in a yellow house with black shutters. Shutters are those pieces of wood that go alongside your windows. There's one on each side. Those are the shutters. So now you know I live in a yellow house with black shutters. Okay, so that you would start to have more details in your drawing, or now you're able to visualize more in your head about what my house looks like. So if we add a little bit more, so we go down to the next line, which is the purple line. You guys probably can't even tell what color that is. It says, I live in a yellow house with black shutters and a black front door. So I've given you even more information now. So now your drawing or the picture that you have in your head should be becoming more detailed. So then I decided, I really need to step up my game. I need to answer some more of those questions, the what and the where. So I added, I live in a yellow house with black shutters and a black front door. The front of my house has 4 windows. My house is constructed or made out of wood. My house has a chimney and a long, skinny driveway. My house is in Fairport. So that gives you a little bit more information, actually a lot more information than the very first line where all I wrote was, I live in a house. So you can see why details are really, really important. When I say I live in a house, you're probably wondering, well, what does it look like? Where is it? Maybe even who do you live with? When did you move there? Why did you move to that house? Now, I didn't include all of those details, primarily because I ran out of paper and I couldn't fit anything else on here. But you can see how providing details in your writing or in your storytelling really gives your listener a picture in their head to go on. And that's really, really important when you're trying to be a great communicator. So when you're doing your writing, or when you're speaking with someone, you're giving information, always try to give many details. It just makes the conversation more interesting, and then somebody won't have to ask so many questions. Not that there's anything wrong with asking questions, but people won't have to ask that many questions if you give them enough details. Just something to think about. So your assignment today, guys, is to do exactly what I did as far as answering the question, where do you live? Or tell me about your house. See how many details you can include. If you do the assignment and you snap a picture of it and send it back to me or share it with me on Zoom, just the writing piece, I'll try to draw a picture of what I think your house looks like based on the information that you give me, based on all of the details. So remember, be specific. All right? I'll talk to you soon. See you soon. Love you. Bye.